Namaskar. Welcome to Conversations with Rakesh. There is a group that I'm part of, and one participant in that group asked me a very nice question, which I thought I'll take up for today's video. Here's the question. Hi, Rakesh sir. There are certain professions which require high and effective level of communication, which she or he should make to engage the audience. That is teacher, stand-up comedian, theater artist, etc. If anything negative happens at that moment, how do these people manage to perform without distraction? What a nice question. The best way to understand this question is from one of my favorite examples of on-stage blunders, which was very visible, happened in front of millions of people in 2016. And this is the Nobel Prize ceremony, 2016. Bob Dylan was given the award for literature. The Nobel Prize literature always is very controversial, and that year was even more because of it going to Bob Dylan, who's a very famous lyricist and singer. And he did not come for that ceremony, but Patti Smith, who's like a rock star, she's there. She used to sing the songs of Bob Dylan. So she came to sing a song of Bob Dylan. So imagine this is the Nobel Prize ceremony in December. The who's who of the world are in that room. Nobel Prize laureates, dukes, duchesses, elite scientists, fundraising donors, billionaires. And this event is live streamed to millions of people in the world. And the recording of that is shown for the rest of your life, and media people cover it and they're watching it. And Patti Smith is singing that song. It's called A Hard Rain Gonna Fall. And she sings, and in about a minute and a half or two, you start to see that something is not right. She's forgetting, she's fumbling, and somewhere she just stops. And it's complete case of fear. She's forgotten it, she's blanked out, she's struggling, the words are not coming, and this happens to the best. This is Patti Smith, like the world's one of the most successful singers. It happens to everyone. So she recovers, takes a few seconds, apologizes to everyone, requests the band people to play it all over again, and she starts, and the people in the hall are clapping, and she again makes few mistakes, but towards the third and fourth minute she picks up her bearings and gives an amazing performance. Now I use this in almost all my classes because I know we are all very afraid of mistakes. एक तो हमारे यहाँ पे मिस्टेक करना is like a death sentence to our careers. I don't know why, पर ये होता है. Because the education systems where we come from, our failures are quite big blots on our life. Because उस failure की वजह से शायद कोई college नहीं मिलता है, शायद कोई job नहीं मिलती है. तो we connect failures and mistakes to catastrophic events of our life, because of which our career is gone. So what happens is that the question you've asked is that you're a teacher, a stand-up comedian, a very visible person, a politician, a CEO, entrepreneur, and you are on stage, people are watching you, and you make a blunder. How do you deal with it? So the few things I'd like to talk about in this video is that the first is that it happens to the best or the worst, doesn't matter. It happens to everyone. And how you cope up with that is very important. So celebrities, stand-up comedians, teachers, entrepreneurs, politicians, people who are in the sports people who are in the public eye, they go through this more. The risk is very high. One is कि चलो आप एक स्टेज पे हो, टीम सामने है, कुछ गलती हो गई, चलो ठीक है. But imagine you are a performer and गलती भी हो गई और heaven forbid कई बार wardrobe malfunction हो जाता है. And there are so many cases. In fact, to make this video मैंने थोड़ा Google किया. मैंने कहा कि चलो देखते हैं the worst on stage blunders मैंने लिखा. And I got some hundreds of hits. In fact, I got Reddit पे there's a blog that the worst 10 celebrity on stage blunders. Politicians, CXOs, बहुत कुछ मिला. But I also stumbled upon this very nice essay that Patti Smith wrote after this fiasco. And it got published in, I think, New Yorker or something. So I was able to read some of it. थोड़ा वो firewall के पीछे है. And she wrote some very beautiful words. The way she describes this is, she calls it a humiliating sting of failure. And then she writes in this essay that she was quite devastated. She finished her performance. She was miserable. She came and sat. And the scientists and other people came and said, well done. We liked your performance. And she was so dejected. She was like, no, I think I made a fool of myself. I'm not good enough. All that stuff. I'm just making it up. But the scientist said something so nice that I've written it down and I want to share with you. The scientist said to her that your performance was a metaphor of our struggles. The world of science, actually the world of humanity, is full of struggles. I don't know of any one human being who's had a life with no struggle, no failure. And I think that's what these Nobel Prize scientists told her, that don't get disheartened by one mistake on the stage. The kind of mistakes they've gone through in labs, and many of them got these awards after 30, 40 years. Some of them have not even been recognized for the work they've done. But that's the fundamental nature of the world we live in. And the scientist said to her that your performance was a metaphor of our struggles. And it is a celebration of being human. So my dear friend who asked me this question, whether you're a teacher, performer, celebrity, stand-up comedian, sports person, or even a person not from these verticals of jobs, a ordinary human being who has to go to office and there's a presentation and you said something and you felt that I made a fool of myself. My message to all of you is, it happens to all of us. It happens to the best of us. कुछ भी कर लो, आप रोक नहीं पाओगे. So the way to deal with that is, I'll give you 3-4 suggestions. The first is, when you are speaking, communicating in front of people, doesn't matter if there are millions or one. You're in front of someone. They're observing you. गलती हो जाती है. It's okay to make mistakes. So calm your mind down and liberate yourself from this need to be perfect. I think the question you've asked is on that. कि हम लोग चाहते हैं कि सब कुछ बढ़िया से होना चाहिए, मतलब flawless execution of our performance. I'm a teacher or I'm a stand-up comedian, मैं जाऊंगा, एक mistake नहीं होनी चाहिए. I think that's wrong. Mistake तो होगी, 10 होंगी, it's all right. I think it's what makes us human. But the second thing is very important. That first is liberate yourself कि गलती तो होगी. Second is, once you've made a mistake and you've realized कि boss गलती हो गई, please apologize to the audience, क्योंकि they deserve it. कि यार उनका टाइम है, वो देख रहे हैं आपको, एक छोटी सी सॉरी बोल दो. और सॉरी का ये मतलब नहीं है कि आपने गलती करी. सॉरी का मतलब है कि I'm sad कि ये हो गया. Be graceful about it and exit. I think that's a very important part. If you can't exit, be graceful about your mistake and start where you stopped, which is what Patti Smith did. She stopped, asked the orchestra to stop. They played again and she started from where she had stopped and finished. तो ये कर लो कि गलती हो जाएगी, सॉरी मांग लेना, सॉरी मांग के अपना परफॉर्मेंस फिनिश कर दो, and then come back and go through the third stage. And the third stage is कि now you will go through a tsunami of emotions, and one of the biggest emotions is shame. कि यार बेइज्जती हो गई, अब लोग क्या कहेंगे, ये तो होगा. So my request is, shame is a very tough emotion, सबको होता है, and I think instead of finding a shortcut to forget it and bury it under the carpet, go through it. Reflect on why you are feeling like that, talk to someone about it, even write down something about it, go through that process. And one of the most brutal TED Talks on this topic was by Monica Lewinsky. I mean, she was made fun of because of what happened between her and the President of the United States at that time, Bill Clinton. And if you read her memoir and blogs and the essay, I mean, he was the most powerful man in the Oval Office. She had a crush on him. She made a mistake, but she got penalized for all of it and he got the second term. So she went through a massive crisis, depression, but she came out of it and gave a TED talk. And I encourage you to watch that TED talk. That she talks about how she went through that. How did she went through all that shaming, Twitter abuse, articles written on her, people honking when she was living and saying all kinds of bad things. So she talks about that how do you deal with shame and come out of it. And I encourage you to watch that and reflect on it. Ki, sometimes life can be very harsh. Hota hai. Now we can't fight with the life and the luck that we have. We have to deal with it. So deal with the shame and emotions and take help of people. And the last one is, whatever happens, please don't give up. Keep walking. आज गलती हो गई, कल एक और क्लास है, कल एक और स्टैंड अप कॉमेडी शो है, एक और मैच है. जाओ जाके डू योर बेस्ट, बिकॉज दैट्स वेयर योर कॉन्फिडेंस विल कम बैक. और ये डर तो लगता है. इफ यू लुक एट ऑल द मूवीज वेयर समबडी मेक्स अ एरर, and because of that error there's a huge problem they face in their life. Their confidence is gone. They never return back to that thing again. This is what those movies talk about, that don't give up. I think एक time होता है हर चीज का, and I think the best movie in that is Chak De. Chak De, there is a very nice story where that person who made a mistake in that goal, which was played by Shah Rukh Khan, then waits for 7 years to get his opportunity, and finally it happens and he's ready for it. So you will get the opportunity. Don't let it go. Do your best and deal with this whole process. So let me summarize the 4 suggestions I have for you when you have a very visible public job. Galti ho gayi, and how do you deal with it? Step number 1, liberate yourself कि गलती तो होगी. It happens to the best of us. It happens to all of us. तो ज़्यादा उसके बारे में टाइम खोटी मत करो. गलती तो होगी ही. Don't be a perfectionist. That is step number 1. Step number 2 is deal the shame that will come along. And there's no shortcut for that. Step number 3, let time heal the wounds. And step number 4, be prepared for the next opportunity. Do your best and go back to all over again. I think at some point of time, I want to reiterate what that scientist said to Patti Smith, that your performance is a metaphor of the struggles of our life. It is what makes us human. And I think mistakes is what makes us human. तो हम लोग क्यों इतना घबराते हैं उनसे, क्यों इतना डरे रहते हैं कि अरे यार मेरी तो इज्जत खराब हो जाएगी. फाइन, खराब होगी, लेकिन that doesn't mean that incident will define you. So keep walking, keep trying. हर एक का एक टाइम होता है, आपका भी आएगा, and I think you'll be all right. So on that note, don't let these failures define who you are. Keep trying, keep communicating, keep connecting with your audience because they deserve it and you deserve to speak. Stay safe.